Okay, we are live. So
Awesome.
welcome everyone that is joining Darnell and myself, Emily, Katie. Today we are so excited to have you for our real talk, our Monday real talk. Start off the
Yes.
day real and raw.
Yes.
So, Darnell, how are you doing today? It's so great to see you. I'm just so
It's
grateful to have you here.
Thank you, Emily. Yeah, things are going great. Like for me, last week and the last few weeks, I would say the energy has been really heavy. And so I've been less productive as much as I wanted to be because I've been really like resting and allowing my body to recharge and to reset. And even when I'm trying to push and make myself do stuff, like my body was telling me, no, you just need to rest and recharge. And
Mm.
so I'm coming out of that now. I'm starting to feel more rejuvenated and I feel more like, okay, I'm getting my energy back. And I'm sure it's probably having something to do with the alignment of the planets and, the placements of the planets. And so for me, I just said, you know what? I'm going to honor this time and allow myself to rest.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah.
That was me last week. I never take rest, and I had to. I
Yes.
didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything? Good for
I had,
you.
well, no, I did. I did do some work. I didn't have anything to give.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes.
So
I can totally relate to that. Right. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, my
yeah.
energy, it's like so rare to be so depleted. But yes,
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. I know my neighbor's an astrologer, and she was telling me something about Saturn and Pisces.
Yes.
And it was
Mhm.
at like the 29th degree of Saturn and Pisces, which I'm a Pisces.
Mhm.
She's like, it's a very sluggish energy. I'm like, oh, that's sluggish.
That makes a lot of sense, right? That was like, yeah, perfect timing information for you.
Yeah, it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it just yeah, it hit me really hard, and I had to take that rest, and I feel good this week though.
Yeah. More
There,
recharged, more energized. Would
yes,
you
I
say?
don't
Yes.
feel like I'm dragging. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. So anyway, we are excited to be here. So if
Yes.
anyone's joining us live, we invite you to ask any questions. We are here to intuitively answer questions for you. We're here to support you this week.
Yes.
Any way we can. And one thing I know Darnell and I wanted to talk a little bit about is the breakdown before the breakthrough.
Yes.
This
Oh my goodness. That is such a timely topic, right,
Yeah,
Emily?
especially with all of like what we were experiencing in this last few weeks of the sluggish energy,
Mhm.
like there was a breakdown going on.
Yeah. And I mean, not just energetically, like not just with the planets, but people are experiencing like significant
Yes.
shifts and breakdowns in their lives. Whether they're, like I've had just, within the last couple of weeks, I've had people tell me that they lost their jobs, or they're going through a divorce. I mean, people are going through it. Like life is lifing for a lot of people right now. And so while you're in this stage, right, this shift of a like breakdown, it's like, how do I go through it so that I can get to the breakthrough, right? So while I'm breaking down, what do I need to do to help myself not fully like go through it where I'm just totally depleted and broken down, but I can just process and flow through these shifts and these changes without fully feeling like I have nothing else to give to the world, right? So, how do we, balance this breakdown so that you can have the breakthrough, right? And
Yeah,
so,
I find it interesting how you're talking about people are going through it right now, and
mhm.
there's been a lot of loss and devastation and change that can be really traumatic for people. And we are in a 9 year this year.
Yes,
This is a year of completion.
yes, 1000%.
And so things are going to be taken out of your life if they're no longer serving you.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
this morning I did a little reel on Instagram, and I wrote up about how when I got laid off of my job, and I thought I lost everything, and
Yes.
actually it was the best thing for me because that's where I
Mhm.
found life purpose. So going
Oh,
through what you're talking about is um, when you're in that middle of the breakdown, to, at least for me, trust that it's happening for a reason
yes,
and take it
exactly.
one day at a
At a
time and
time.
never to force it.
I love that you said that because, like, if you're watching this, or if you know, now or in the future, and you hear us talking about like how am I going to get through this, right? And you have to think about it in a way where you're like, okay, sometimes a breakdown is like a blessing for you in the future, right? It's like
Mhm.
allowing the old, paradigm, the old mindset, the old things that, like Emily was saying, that no longer serves you, to help propel you on a trajectory to get to the thing that you're supposed to be doing, right? So even for myself, and I talked about this a little bit on a previous video, is when I was going through my, job role elimination, and I was like grieving because it came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. And then while I was grieving, I was also understanding and praying, like I know there's a breakthrough. I know that something is good that's going to happen on the other side of this. I just have to process through it, understand and learn the lessons on why I'm going through this so that I can fully just dive into my purpose and why I came here. And
Mhm.
so know that that's going to happen for you as well, right? Because we're all experiencing life, and life is lifing every single day.
I love
Um,
that term. Life is lifing. It's so true.
yes. And so even if, you know, you maybe lost someone dear and loving to you, or maybe you're going through a divorce, or whatever you're dealing with, or maybe it's something just as joyful as like your kids are leaving the home and going off to college. Maybe you're empty nesting, right? That's a grieving process, right? Like you're feeling all those emotions, but you know that that's a joyful moment for your children, but you're trying to process through not having them there with you practically every day like you did for 17 or 18 years. And so know that the on the other side of it, you're gonna get to that thing that's going to make you feel more joyful.
Yes. And to acknowledge that you're grieving. I love
Yes.
that you're saying that you realized you were grieving when you lost your job. A piece of
Right.
you died
Yes.
when you were laid off, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So it's like, yeah, there's that grief element, and it's not to push it aside, but to be aware of it
Mhm.
and acknowledge it is so important. And these life transitions that we're going through, we're in a 9 year. The whole collective energy is shifting.
Yes.
We're all in it
Exactly.
together. We are literally
Yes.
seeing life as we have always known it crumble right before our very own eyes.
Yes.
So Darnell, well, before I ask you this question, if anybody has any questions, again, we're happy to give some intuitive readings or card pulls for anyone that's
Mhm.
joining us live. We're here to support you however we can. But Darnell, I'm curious, do you have any like daily practices or tips of how to navigate grief or navigate these, tough times?
Yeah, so I always start the day with gratitude.
Mm,
And in whatever, whether I'm just waking up and giving gratitude for breath, right? For God allowing me to breathe one extra day, to be
mm,
on this planet, to make a difference and to make an impact. I just start out with gratitude. Even once I open my eyes, before I even get out of the bed, I start just rolling out a list of things that I'm grateful for. And then I'm grateful for, once I leave the house, when I'm walking the dog, I count like the different things that I see that I'm grateful for, right? And it's just as simple things as listening to the birds chirping in the morning, like the silence during my walk, right? Really just zoning out all the extra noise around me. And then also where I live, there's an elementary school and a daycare. So I'm so grateful to hear the young children and their, screams and hollers and their laughs and joy and just running around in the playgrounds. It just, that just brings me so much joy to hear the youth, and that they have joy and happiness in every single moment of their lives. And so that alone is what recharges me. Like hearing and being in nature, and then also hearing the sounds of children around me, which makes me always feel like uplifted. So those are some of the things. In addition to, sometimes I will journal depending on what I'm doing. But oh, one other tip that I typically will do is listening to something that's very motivational, whether it's through an audio book or on YouTube. I will pick a person of my choice for that day and listen to something that's very powerful and allow that energy to make me feel joyful and uplifted.
Mm, I
Yeah.
love that.
What
So
about you?
well, yes, gratitude is so important, plant lover,
Hmm.
100%. And it's interesting because right before we came on live, I was on LinkedIn and I came across this woman that I've met probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and she shifted her entire life just by gratitude.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna reach out to her to see if she'll be a guest on my podcast because I think
Yes.
such an inspirational story, and it is amazing how gratitude does
Mhm.
increase our vibration. It
Yeah.
changes things.
Yes.
So I remember when I lost my job and
Mhm.
I was freaking out. I'm not married. I'm like, got to take care of myself. How am I
Right.
going to cover my bills and everything? And um I definitely went through a dark night of the soul. I've been through
Mhm.
a few dark nights of the soul, and that was one. But at that time, I remember I just went into the law of attraction and I literally focused on um, how grateful I am
Yeah.
for the new job that's going to come. And that was more into an alignment with who I am and where I'm going.
Yes.
So I was in gratitude, but I was also pulling in my future self. And
Mhm.
literally, I lost my job. And by the end of that was on a Friday morning. And it was like Monday, the next Monday, just a few days later, I was offered a new job with somebody else that was in the spiritual world. And I was going to do all of her marketing. So I left the corporate world that was totally out of alignment with me. And it opened it up the door for me to go into the spiritual world and ease it in because it wasn't like I had to start a business without any, backing.
Yes. Right.
I was able to and start something totally new. I knew
Right.
needed to go in the spiritual world, but I just was not ready to fully come out of the spiritual closet. So I got to
Right.
hide behind this other woman
Yes. I totally understand that. Totally
until
get
I
that.
was
Yes.
ready. And
Yeah.
yeah, so gratitude. I stayed in gratitude for something I didn't even have.
I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, thinking about the future version of yourself and pulling her in or meeting her where she is so that you can allow God, universe to open up doors for you, right? To stay in that higher frequency energy so that you can still take care of your basic needs, right? It was like, I
Absolutely.
love that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah. And so that's a tip, right? For anybody that's watching or listening, is like thinking of your future version of yourself and who you want to be. Like really like embrace it in a way, not only do you see it, you smell it, you taste it, and you feel and you like put yourself in that version right now. Like
Yes.
pulling into her
Yeah.
or him right now so that you can feel what it is and bringing that forward to you in this moment right now. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep, it's how I live my life. So I can't, my past, I don't want to be operating from my past. I want to operate. My
Yes.
past has gotten me here, which is great, but it's not
Yes.
where I want to go or see myself going.
Mhm.
So I 100% am constantly tapping into my future self, who we all have future selves of ourselves that has already reached what we want as
Yes.
the goal. There's all sorts of timelines of us because every time we make a decision, part of us goes one direction, another
Mhm.
part of our soul goes the opposite. So we can
Yes.
have both the experiences of it. So these are parallel lives.
Yes.
You can access the parallel life of the successful person that you want
Mhm.
to be. You envision yourself. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm constantly pulling her in and I'm communicating and I make decisions based off of her, not
Yes.
me in this moment today. So
I
yeah,
love that. Yes.
working with our future self is so powerful. So With that said, again, if there's anybody here that is with us live, please drop a question. We're here to help you, support you. Please like this video. If you are not subscribed, subscribe to our channels. We appreciate
Hmm.
your support. It's an energy exchange. It helps us tap into your energy, get you some more clarity on what topics we can talk about, as well as if we're going to do some readings. It definitely helps. So thank you for liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you for your questions. We really enjoy interacting with you as well. So, Darnell, do you have anything else that you want to add to this while we wait to see if any questions come in?
Yeah. So, I would love to just share that, like, whatever you're going through, like, it's a journey, right? So, a lot of times we're trying to rush through the experience, right? We're trying to just, I don't want to feel it. I don't want to, be a part of it. I don't want to process it. But the learning that you will just develop by going through it, right, will allow you to fully understand and embrace the next stage in what you're supposed to be doing, right? It's just like when you first learned how to tie your shoe. There's a method, and there's different ways to of tying your sneaker or your shoe. However, like, until you master that one way that feels right for you, then it's gonna always unravel, right? So until you continue to master and practice and allow that energy to flow and allow yourself to embrace whatever that experience is and master it, then you will be like, okay, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was, right? So it gives you a different perspective and a different outlook on just the transition from not knowing how to tie your shoe to fully tying your shoe with your eyes closed, right? So
Mm,
allowing yourself to fully embrace each step along the way and feeling what it feels like through that process. Yeah.
mhm. I love the analogy of tying your shoe, and until you master it, it will
Hmm.
unravel. That's really, and it's okay.
Yes.
It's so okay.
Yes.
And that brings to mind of like
Hmm.
one thing I often do is I love to talk to my younger self. And when I'm instead of if I find myself being critical, self-critical, I go,
Hmm.
wait, who am I being self-critical to? And then I
Right.
will talk to my younger self, who is probably the one that's being critical because she's
Hmm.
always been told she's not good enough or whatever.
Right.
Um, and so that aligns with tying your shoe. It's like going back and just being so gentle and loving
Yes.
to that part of you that maybe hasn't fully learned whatever it is you're supposed to learn. And that's
Hmm.
okay. It's part of the process.
Yes.
And be
I,
gentle on yourself through the process.
I love that. I love
Mm.
that you talk to your younger self, right? And just, you know, re-nurturing, reparenting her, right? In a
Yes.
way to support her, to let her know that it's okay that you don't know everything right now, but
Right.
you will, right? But I want to support you and give you the love and the nurturing that you need so that you feel like, okay, it's, I can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a question I do want to address here.
Okay.
Tamara, any support for mothers who have lost children in manipulative divorce or fully estranged, and for those
Mm.
being around them? So your child or children are still alive, I'm assuming. They're not in the spirit realm. Trauma patterns reoccur and facing those. Um, yeah, trauma patterns 100% will keep resurfacing until we can heal from them and learn our life lessons from them. And some of the trauma is not our very own.
Right.
um, but if you can answer, your children are estranged through the divorce, is this correct? Or none of them are in the spirit realm? I'm getting that they are all alive.
Mhm.
Um, One thing that I do with my clients when we're going through this of estranged children, and I've had great success with this with my clients, is cutting cords, pulling back, calling back your power to you, and having and just trusting that if they are meant to come back, that they will. I had a client, she was in her early 90s and she had an estranged daughter and we did this. And okay, so they are alive. Give them time to heal. Really give them
Mhm.
time to heal. But my one client, so she's in her 90s at this time. This is a few years ago. And when she was sad because she knew she didn't have a lot of time. I'm sure she's still
Right.
alive. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I'm sure she's still alive. And but she wanted to make amends with her daughter. And so we cut cords. And I'm not joking, within an hour after that session, her daughter called her and said, Mom, I know it's been a long time, but I feel like I need to come up and see you this weekend. Are you
Aw.
available? I want to spend the weekend with you.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
That's very powerful.
Yes,
So,
I love
um,
that.
yeah, I may have a cord cutting a meditation on my YouTube. You may want to check and see. If
Hmm.
not, you can message me and I can get you one. But it's a really powerful way to disentangle all of the trauma and the pain
Yes, exactly.
and to get you back into soul alignment and
Hmm.
be be so loving and gentle with them because there's pain that they've endured that you may not even be aware of.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes that pain is hard to articulate, right?
Right, especially
Um,
with your parents.
yes, especially with your parents. Yes.
Yeah.
And I love what you shared about like that cord cutting. It's in untangling all the trauma, right? And I think as another tip that I want to offer is when you think of the higher version of your family member, right? Like speaking from your soul to their soul. So from your heart to their heart, not necessarily physically, but just like setting the attention, like, I wish you the best. I want the best for you. Like speaking, like how you would speak in front of them, but speaking to the higher version of themselves and the higher version of you meeting them on that level where soul to soul can talk and work out whatever it is that you're dealing with. So allowing the soul of yourself and your family member to work it out, and then you know sending them off, sending love to them, of course, right after you share soul to soul, and then continue to just practice from that perspective. Just, I'm sending you unconditional love, I love you, and vice versa, right? And another tip that I use is Ho'oponopono. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Emily, but it's the Hawaiian forgiveness mantra that people will use to say, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. How do we grow from this? So I can share that link with you that you can share with the audience. Is like, it's a forgiveness for yourself and for the other person, but it's mainly to focus on forgiving you because we're sometimes reflections of who we come from, right? Or society or the things that we've been taught. And so we have to start to forgive ourselves first, and then once we can forgive ourselves, then other people within our collective and society are forgiven as well. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's the key is forgiving ourselves first. So I see
Hmm.
here Tamara wrote that they are in her life and she just got back from a trip and they were so mean. And she did her best to stand her ground and say what was acceptable. And
Hmm.
yeah, they're adults. I think the cutting cords, the Ho'oponopono prayer, if I've said that correctly,
Yep.
and then the speaking to their higher self. All three of those tips,
Yes.
so powerful.
Hmm.
Um, and healing yourself first. If you
Yes.
heal yourself, then they won't trigger you.
Right.
It's like
Hmm.
what spirit is showing me is like these fragments in your energetic and physical body, like just like these holes in there. It's like they know where to go and dig.
Hmm.
And so going in and doing the deep healing and healing those that energetic, those the conditioning, the programming, the trauma that you've been carrying around that's not yours, and some of it is yours. But to go do that deep work, and
Yes.
and then your kids are gonna respond to you differently.
Yeah. And setting boundaries, like,
Hmm.
energetic boundaries, right? So whether you're can envision like a ball of white light or golden light around you so that you're not absorbing what they're pushing out towards you, right? So allowing yourself to have an energetic boundary so that you're not triggered when they come at you in a way that's not of love and light, right? Yeah.
I will tell you a quick story too, and if anybody else has a question, we would be happy to answer too. But I will share a quick story. I was a stepmom for 15 years, and my stepson, my husband was very, very ill, so we didn't have a lot. But everything we made went to his medical. Um,
Mm.
we were constantly living in hospitals and
Mhm.
just trying to stay afloat. He couldn't work. I had to hold everything. It was exhausting,
Yeah.
but I remember my stepson and his mother remarried to a very wealthy, wonderful man.
Mhm.
Um, but it was like his dad's or his mom's house, he could have anything he wanted.
Mhm.
There was no limitations there. At his dad's house, we were on fumes.
Right.
I
Mhm.
remember he was very frustrated with us because why could he have so much abundance here and not over here?
Right. Mhm.
Understandably so. He was young, he didn't know. But my parents are both school teachers. My mom gave me some advice once, and I don't remember specifically what she said, but she was like, "Don't worry, kids will see it. They see
Yes.
it. They see that he sees he's loved. Don't worry."
Yes.
Because you just
Mhm.
felt like inadequate. And she goes, just do you. Don't try
Mhm.
to prove yourself. Don't do anything. Just do you.
Right.
And this kid at age 14 blew my mind. At the time, we are homeless.
Oh,
We
wow.
lost everything
Mhm.
because of my husband was so ill.
Yeah.
The economy crashed, and he and I are driving, and he goes, "You know, Emily, I really hated you and dad when I was younger. You guys wouldn't let me play video games. You wouldn't let me order whatever I wanted off of the menu. You wouldn't like we had boundaries."
Right.
And
Exactly.
he goes, "But I see how you guys are joyful in the
Mm.
hardest of times. I see how
Yes.
you guys do these things that are just like so outstanding,
Yes.
and you don't need something to make you happy."
Right.
And I stood my ground.
Mhm.
I stayed true to who I was. I
Yes.
put myself in some really hard times,
Mhm.
and I just poured love energetically into this kid, even
Yes.
when he was a jerk at times to me.
Mhm. Yep.
And being a step parent is a completely different topic.
Right.
It is the most selfless thing anyone can ever do.
Yes.
I
Agree.
think being a parent is selfless, but being a step
Yes.
parent
That's a whole
is
nother level. Yes.
that's another level. But if you just stand your ground, stay true to yourself, and have
Mhm.
no expectations of anything. I never
Right.
expected that kid to ever say anything to me like
Mhm.
that. Never.
But you love so deeply from your heart to give
Yes.
him what he needed, right? And he
Yes.
was watching, like your mother was saying, like he was
Hmm.
watching,
He was
right?
watching.
And he was taking notes from
Mhm.
your household and his mom's household, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, I have all the things over here, but I don't know his situation, but I'm just assuming he's probably like, but they're not as happy and joyful as like my dad and my stepmom,
That
right?
had nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, hey, so I share that story. It just came to mind. To just stand your ground, stand true to yourself. Don't
Yes.
bend for them. We
Yes.
can't. We just can't.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
I'm grateful that my stepson could see it.
Mhm. Yes.
I did
Choose
not
you.
expect it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep. Choose
I
you
hope,
first.
yeah. So I just hope that's helpful for you and gives you some courage to just keep focusing on you. And the other thing too is allow them to go through the pain that they have to go through. Allow
Mhm.
them to be angry.
Yes.
I don't know what it's like to be part of a kid from a divorced family. I know what it's
Mhm.
like to raise one, and
Right.
it's hard.
Mhm. Agree. Yes. and allowing like them to fully immerse themselves in that experience will have an outcome like Emily's stepson, right? Because if he bypassed all of that experience and that emotion, then he probably wouldn't have a reflective mind that he has to say, oh, like people who don't have all the material possessions are still very happy and joyful and loving, whereas vice versa, where others may have, material possessions, but then they're not as happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he
I
had to
love that.
come to that. Right.
Yeah, we didn't
Yes.
bypass it. We didn't try to
Right.
become somebody we're not.
Mhm.
Try to buy his
Exactly.
love. We couldn't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
And
so
he
that's
needed
I
those
love.
experiences because that elevated his soul.
Oh,
Right?
100%. Yes,
Yes.
it really did. So
Yeah.
thank you for pointing that out. I've never seen it that way. I love that.
Yes.
Yes. So Tamara, I hope that was helpful for you. Really
Yes.
some powerful insights there. So
Yeah. Any more questions
I
out there?
don't see any other questions, so I think we'll just go ahead and wrap it up unless you
Yeah.
have anything else, Darnell, that you want to share.
No, I will often say that you're not alone. If you're dealing with stress or, just like I just need clarity around my soul's purpose or how to get unstuck. Emily and I both are very specialized in our healing modalities. Feel free to reach out to us, and Emily will share the links
Yeah, I'll
in
put
this.
the links in the description. If you
Okay.
want to drop yours in the chat now, go for it too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, Darnell, share a little bit about what your offerings are, and I'll share a little bit about mine.
Okay. Yeah. So I focus on a lot of what I would say ancestral and generational traumas to help you really unpack a lot of that may be stored inside of your DNA to help drop down the healing and loving codes through my light language, and then also repairing your ancestral lineage from all the traumas that everybody that I know is living on this planet has some ancestral ties to some type of trauma or drama in their lineage, right? And so I help to repair those, I help to uplift, and I help to pour down actually your gifts from your ancestors. Not only am I removing the things that keep you stuck, but I'm also pouring down the love, the healing, the resources, and also the gifts that are also inside of your DNA. So activating that information inside of you so that you can step into the full version of yourself and also your warriorship. So yeah,
Mhm.
I really
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
seriously, like she pulled out a warrior from inside of me that I didn't know existed. So some powerful work there. I love it. Um, when I
Yeah.
work with so clearing past life and parallel lives is my main gifts where I can see what's blocking you, holding you back, that little voice in your head that's telling you you can't, the self-doubt. That's where I can go in, identify the root of that problem, help clear it so that you can step into the fullest of what you are meant to be doing here in this lifetime. So I just dropped my link in the chat. I will also put our links in the description to have a session and see if it's something that if you've been blocked and you don't understand why and you want to clear that, that thing that you have, that burning desire inside of you, and you just feel so paralyzed by it, by
Yeah.
being able to access it and don't even know the first step. We'd love to help you because we're all here to do something bigger than we realize. And it's time for us to step into that. So,
Yes, absolutely. So
yeah,
yeah, happy to help and know that you're not alone on this journey.
not at all. So, thank you for joining us, you guys. We so appreciate you. Your interactions, yeah, whether you're liking, sitting silently, just absorbing it, engaging with us in the chat. We love it. It fuels us. It keeps us coming back. So,
Yes.
we'll be back next Monday on Darnell's channel.
Yes.
So please join us next Monday.
Looking forward to seeing everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.